Today, we dive into a topic that has been on many people's minds. For decades, the United Kingdom has been known for its rich culture, booming industrial growth, and endless opportunities. Recent discussions, including one economist's bold claim that everyone under 50 should consider leaving Britain, highlight a stark reality. The cost of living crisis has reached epidemic proportions. In this documentary, we reveal why so many are saying, it's worse than you think. The golden era of the UK. Historically, the UK was a beacon of progress. From its groundbreaking cultural contributions to its robust industrial development, Britain was the place where dreams became realities. Millions of non-native citizens migrated here, lured by the promise of opportunities that few other nations could offer. Cities like London, Manchester, and Edinburgh were not just places to live. They were symbols of success and innovation. The cost of living crisis. Today, Britain is facing a crisis that cuts deep into everyday life. The cost of living has skyrocketed, and younger people are increasingly looking abroad for a better, more affordable lifestyle. But why has this once thriving nation become so inhospitable for its own citizens? For starters, wages have stagnated. Over the past 15 years, the average weekly wage has barely budged. While inflation has surged dramatically, the money in people's pockets hasn't grown to keep up with rising costs. This disconnect has left many struggling to make ends meet. The housing nightmare. One of the most painful symptoms of this crisis is the housing shortage. The UK has long suffered from a scarcity of affordable homes compared to its European neighbors. Strict planning laws, limited funding for new builds, and an ever-growing native population have all contributed to a dramatic shortage. In cities like London and Manchester, properties have become prohibitively expensive. Home ownership, once a dream for many young professionals, is now out of reach. Even renting has become a financial strain. As demand outpaces supply, landlords raise rents to unsustainable levels, forcing more households into temporary or rental accommodations. Consider this. In 2010, there were under 48,000 households living in temporary housing. Fast forward to today, and that number has more than doubled to over 112,000. The housing market is in crisis, and it's not just about numbers, it's about the quality of life. With fewer affordable homes available, families find themselves living in conditions that are often less than acceptable, sometimes in spaces infested with insects, damp with mold, and lacking basic amenities. Stagnant wages and a draining brain. Economic opportunity has always been a cornerstone of any thriving nation. In the UK, however, a troubling trend has emerged. Productivity and wage growth have flattened. Up until 2008, there was a modest annual increase in productivity of about 2%. But since that turning point, the growth curve has leveled off and, in some cases, even dipped during the recent COVID-19 pandemic. This stagnation means that an educated and skilled worker in the UK today earns less than half of what their counterparts in countries like the United States, Australia, or Germany can earn. This wage gap is a critical driver behind what is now being called a brain drain. Talented professionals, especially those under 50, are looking elsewhere for better opportunities, better pay, and a chance to grow. Every year, more educated youngsters pack their bags and head for destinations that promise not only economic stability, but also a better quality of life. The NHS under pressure. No discussion about living in the UK would be complete without mentioning the National Health Service, or NHS. Celebrated for its founding principle of providing free health care to everyone, the NHS is now grappling with challenges that threaten its very existence. When the NHS was established in 1948, The population of the UK was under 50 million. Today, the population has swelled to over 68 million, and the number of elderly citizens has risen sharply. With this demographic shift comes an increased demand for healthcare. Consultations, treatments, and medications are needed more than ever before. The waiting lists tell a grim story. In 2014, about 3 million people were waiting for consultation in government hospitals. Today, that number has soared to around 7.4 million. Overwhelmed and underfunded, the NHS struggles to keep pace with demand. Moreover, many trained healthcare professionals are opting to work in countries like the United States and Australia, where the wage disparity is significant. This exodus further undermines the quality of care available to British citizens, with survival rates for critical conditions such as stroke, cancer, and heart attacks lagging behind those in other developed nations. Inflation and economic strain. Another major factor contributing to the decline in living standards is inflation. In the wake of the global pandemic, the UK experienced a period of double-digit inflation for 7 consecutive months between September 2022 and March 2023. At its peak, inflation hit an astonishing 11.1% in October 2022. The impact of these rising prices is felt in every corner of daily life. General household items, food, fuel, and services all saw unprecedented price hikes. Even though the inflation rate has now dropped to 1.7% in 2024, the damage done during that period has left a lasting impression. Many households continue to struggle as the value of money erodes and wages fail to keep pace with rising costs. The government's response and its limitations. Faced with these daunting challenges, the UK government has launched several initiatives aimed at alleviating the pressure. Significant funding has been allocated to the NHS in an effort to increase wages for healthcare professionals, hire additional staff, and reduce the overwhelming waiting lists. Similarly, the housing crisis is being addressed through measures designed to attract more investors to the social housing sector and boost the construction of new homes. Despite these efforts, progress is slow, and the solutions appear to be only a temporary bandage over a much deeper wound. Structural issues, such as strict planning laws and an ingrained economic model that has failed to adapt to modern challenges, continue to undermine these initiatives. While government measures provide some hope, they are not sufficient to reverse decades of stagnation and decline. The challenges are too complex and deeply rooted for quick fixes. With every passing year, the gap between the rich and the struggling widens, and the once promising opportunities that drew people to the UK are fading into memory. The crucial question, why stay? So why would anyone choose to stay in the UK when the signs point to a bleak future? The answer lies in the country's illustrious past and the hope that its potential for recovery remains intact. The UK is still the 6th largest economy in the world, and despite the current challenges, it retains a unique cultural and historical identity that continues to attract millions. Yet the stark reality is that for many, especially younger people, the prospects of achieving a prosperous and fulfilling life are increasingly found elsewhere. The UK has the potential to turn things around. It has the resources, the talent, and the historical resilience to overcome its current challenges. However, such a turnaround requires bold, innovative policies and a willingness to address the structural issues that have long held the country back. Thank you for joining us on this journey to uncover the truth. Stay informed, ask the tough questions, and never stop seeking a better life for yourself and your community.